Whenever you're ready, bro.
Jordy. Okay, go on. Okay. So, good evening. Today I'm going to discuss an idea about non-traditional financing for non-traditional literacy using technology. So, 34.5% of the population for ages 15 and up do not have a traditional bank account, meaning they've never went to a financial institution to deposit their money, their hard-earned money, or start a savings account. And only 10.7% of those have ever borrowed from an actual bank or have used a credit card. So in terms of usage of the traditional financial institutions, it's pretty low in the Philippines. Also, according to UNESCO, 774 million people, including 123 million youth, are illiterate, meaning they can't read or write, or they don't have access to that level of basic education where they can learn to read or write. So my hypothesis is kind of how do we bridge that gap? How does those two problems intersect, or how do those two problems, how can they come together and find a solution for at least one of them, or introduce these people into that space? And what role can technology play? So, a UNESCO study titled Reading in the Mobile Era reports that electronic gadgets are becoming the new medium to exposure to text. So, a lot of people start reading when they start using mobile gadgets, or they develop their reading skills using mobile gadgets. Though there are several studies that say children's early exposure to electronic gadgets are detrimental to their growth, there are also studies that say as long as the exposure is supervised and well-directed, mobile devices allow children access to information that personally when I was growing up, wasn't exposed to. I would have to go to the library to look for information, to do research for my homeworks. Plus, it helps them become more accepting or more comfortable when it comes to technology. So a lot of early on during the call center boom in the Philippines, a lot of people who were applying, their problems were they didn't know how to use a computer. Their English was good, but they didn't know how to use a computer. They weren't familiar with the technology. So the question is, how do we help people who aren't able to pay for mobile devices in one go, meaning they're not able to save up to pay for a mobile device, or the money they have right now doesn't make it easy for them to have a mobile device immediately. How do we solve for that? So my suggestion is provide small amount loans for mobile devices to people who are impoverished. So my solution would be to create a poverty-sensitive loan default model. So what do I mean by that? So the data set I used was from Kaggle, so from Home Credit Default Loan. And the main train data there was more of socioeconomic background of the person, how much they were earning, how many children do they have, where do they live. But there were also supplemental data sources, for example, their credit card usage or their previous loans status. So in my head, if we're gonna target for poor people or people who never had loans before, they wouldn't have that data. So you should be able to create a model that's very effective with only the least amount of features or least amount of data you can extract from your loan applicant. So in terms of the data in loan default, the main file had 366,000 rows and 123 columns. Okay, so looking at most of loan default data, you would find imbalanced data sets where there is a large amount of people who actually pay their loans and only a small percentage of them don't. So my approach for dealing with this was to resample using sklearn's own resample module, I guess. I use XGBoost. So there's discussion about XGBoost since it can handle NaN data, so not numbers. So you don't really have to fill NAs, but I've read other papers saying that imputation actually makes it worse for your model. So it's better that to just fill them with zeros sometimes. There's this discussion about label encoding versus one-hot for tree-based models and non-tree-based models. Creating pipelines to avoid data leakage. I also did cross-validation, voting using different models, and actually playing with the threshold. So my goal was to make an accurate model with a high precision so that I can minimize false positives and make sure that the people who are actually applying for the loan don't get denied because they were tagged as a false positive for loan default. Okay. So what were my results? So my model accuracy was pretty okay, 68.86%. I guess that's okay. ROC curve was 0.7, which was kind of okay as well. But then when I checked my confusion matrix, my percentage score was 16.58%. So there was a lot of false positive. So in the end, my model didn't work. I mean, it could probably be tweaked, but from the data set that I chose and the features that I chose, it wasn't enough to increase the precision. I even tried playing with the threshold with the model, making sure that only a higher prediction probability would be tagged as a true positive. But yeah, it ended up with a percentage score of 16.58%. So even though the model accuracy was high, there were a lot of false positives, which I was trying to avoid for my poverty sensitive model.